Fact number 1. Dynasty Warriors Origins is releasing on January 17th, and some of you guys are going to actually be able to play it a little bit earlier on January 16th. It has two different versions on it. It has a $70 regular standard edition, and then it has a deluxe edition that brings the soundtrack and a couple of digital goodies. It's also going to be coming out on all platforms, excluding the Switch. Now, can it be possibly coming for the Switch too? We don't know yet, so if it does come out for the Switch, hey, I'm putting it in the video just in case. And essentially, Dynasty Warriors Origins is a brand new take on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and it is as good as advertised. It is something completely different. I've been playing it for about 15 hours, and we're gonna get into all of the facts before you buy. What up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Mike Fury, and I make informative videos just like this one, so please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content. Now let's get right into the story. You play as a protagonist, or an amnesiac protagonist, if you will. He has lost his memory and he no longer understands what he is fighting for, what his purpose is, and this gives you like a blank slate to you kind of create a character, which you don't get to do. It's kind of just a base model. Everybody's going to be looking the same. I wish they would have added a little bit to that. That would have added a little bit to our liking of the character if we get to see our character in cutscenes and created the way that we wanted to. But as far as the story is concerned, you will get to pick your faction as you usually do. Either it's going to be Shu, Wei, or Wu. It's going to be done in chapter 3. You will play the first two chapters, what are basically the Zhang Jiao Rebellion, or the Yellow Turban Rebellion, and then you'll get into Dong Zhuo, and afterwards you'll get to pick which one of those that you want to play as. Now, granted, that will lead into multiple endings, which I will talk about later, but this is a more focused narrative around a particular character, his amnesia, what he stands for, and usually he's standing on business and standing on peace, and that is more or less the focus of the story. No longer do we get to create a character in other versions. No longer do we get to pick one of the officers. Granted, you do get to swap during the story for a little bit of time, but not too long. But yes, more focused narrative, more cinematic narrative, and I think that it is great for this change. I spoke about it earlier, the visuals. This game is beautiful, and it's all thanks to that brand new engine, the Katana engine for Dynasty Warriors Origins. It brings it to life. I'm talking about dynamic weather effects. I'm talking about different type, I won't call it a day-night cycle, but there are maps that happen in the daytime and there are maps that strictly happen in the nighttime. It looks beautiful. Vegetation, 1,000 people on screen. This is the only game that could possibly kind of count that. That is the hook. That's always been the hook of Dynasty Warriors, the amount of people, but now it's just way more detail, better particle effects, better lighting. It's a beautiful looking game. Now, as far as audio is concerned, we are looking at the same awesome guitar riffs happening in the background, awesome electric guitars, but now, because it's a more focused narrative, a more cinematic story, we have these beautiful orchestral sound pieces. It is absolutely beautiful sometimes, and it leans into the mythos, the actual storytelling of it. Music can be pleasant, it can be calm, soothing, but it could also ramp up into those awesome moments where it's you versus 1,000 and you just happen to wipe the board, and it's like it's amazing. And Dynasty Warriors has always had the awesome energy, like adrenaline-inducing music, but now it has these more melodic, more soft, soothing songs. I appreciate it. The deluxe edition comes with the soundtrack, by the way. One of the first new changes in the game is now this overworld mechanic, or this function where you actually have the ability to find skirmishes and travel to different provinces in this kind of spacious map, and there you can collect resources. Like I said, you can do little side quests, little missions. You can talk to NPCs and actually encounter some of the characters and engage in dialogue with them, and even to a point that you actually get to pick certain pieces to say, and depending on what you say, the actual conversation could turn out to be a little bit different than what you had thought. I like that. I think it's very unique. Again, usually we don't get this amount of freedom or this amount of choice in Dynasty Warrior games, but like I said, this is a brand new take on it, and I am fully appreciative of it. Now, here's the thing. I will have another video talking about what I think that they should add add to the next time, because even though I like this, I think that they could have done better at it. But as far as the overworld map is concerned, it provides different locations, different inns, shops that you can buy weapons in. It provides a brand new mechanic to a franchise that doesn't get a lot of brand new mechanics. There's always a gimmick, but this is a brand new cool mechanic that I think that we should get more of in the future. Next up is gems and accessories. Your character will be able to use some of the resources that he finds in the overworld, like I was speaking about earlier. So use some of the resources and create gems, and these gems can be leveled up. The more you collect the resources, the more you can actually create gems, and those gems can then be something that add little tiny buffs, and depending on your play style, you can actually switch it up as well. There's no extra resource that you have to pay to swap out the gems, but you can switch them out depending on which weapon you have. If you think that a weapon is a lot more defensive, or you seem to be pairing a lot more with this weapon, you can switch it out for one that allows you to do more damage after a parry. Like, I think that adds a lot of variety, and the same thing with accessories. You can do missions, and those missions will give you accessories, and those accessories can be equipped. Now, like I said, I talked about how things I think need to be added for the future. I think that those accessories should be visible when you put them on in game. I would like that little bit of detail to it. But yes, gems and accessories are cool little things that you can actually focus on acquiring during the main story. They're not going to be the stars, but they are something that are going to add to your gameplay and add to your experience. Now on to the stars of the show, the weapons and battle arts. Now, weapons are the mainstay in Dynasty Warriors. So some of the reasons that you swap characters is because you want to try out some of the awesome weapons and see how proficient they are in them. And now we have downgraded in this point, but because of the game and the focus that it has on storytelling, it makes sense. Usually in Dynasty Warriors, you have about maybe 50, 60 characters, all with different weapons and all with different strong attacks, low attacks. It's awesome, right? Now we have a focused 10 weapons, very focused 10 weapons. Are there some weapons that I believe should have been included? Absolutely. But that doesn't take away from the fact that now the weapons are a lot more focused. They have a little bit of customizability to them because of the RNG that goes on in the game. There is a ability to get a weapon that is a higher tier or a higher rank or a higher grade. And all of these can have different sockets or different attributes to them. I think that is a sweet thing, a sweet mechanic to have alongside with, which was what it was before. We used to be able to get that too, because we would get weapons that have, like this one does fire damage, this one does lightning damage, or this one prevents traps, or this one does less damage because it has extra defense. Like, we used to already get that, but now because of the focus in storytelling and because of the focus in playing style, it's actually well thought, and I like the execution of it. Now, battle arts are basically your awesome attacks, and these are extremely varied. Some of them you'll be able to use with any weapon. Some of them are very weapon specific, and they're awesome. And basically, the more you fight, it's basically, imagine a momentum system where the more you fight, the more you accrue momentum, and the more you're able to provide some of these abilities. It's not like mana where I'm able to, like, I have a certain amount of mana and then I'll be able to use this ability. No, these abilities are happening in real time because you're actually fighting and gaining the momentum to actually pull them off. And they could be something as simple for like a spear. It could be a whole 360 whip around with the spear, or something more focused like a drill attack with the spear. It is extremely awesome. I love the battle arts, and some of them you can't even find unless you explore it. I think that's such a cool thing in the overworld. That's why I think the overworld's so cool. I literally could just explore and then talk to this old man, and this old man tells me, hey, I see what you're doing. I like what you're doing. Here's this new ability, and the new ability, boom, a new cool attack for the spear, and it happens to be this dodge one that it kind of sends the spear as a meteor, and it smashes down into the ground and destroying enemies. It's absolutely awesome. Weapons in battle are phenomenal. And now on to the meat and potatoes, proficiency. There is like 6 tiers of proficiency in this game. So the more, it kind of takes the Skyrim approach. The more you use, the better you get. Very simple. So the same thing happens with the 10 weapons. The more you use, the better you get with them. You gain abilities, you gain extra attacks, you gain faster ways. For example, one of the cooler weapons is the actual gauntlets, and you get faster ways to hop into stances with the gauntlets. You might even unlock other stances, and this includes button prompts, this includes a lot of stuff. So each and every single weapon has its proficiency. Your character have a character rank or a level to them, so it's called the rank, but a level to them. You have horses that have a level and proficiency to them, so they can get stronger. Their charge attack could be stronger as well. You have skills that have a mastery to them, so the more you use them, the better the mastery, the more damage they do. Now, I haven't gotten any of them to the point that I've mastered them, but I'll be able to tell you guys in the review if there's a visual difference between them, or is it just like a numbers thing where now it used to do 100 damage, now it does 125, that sort of thing. But I'll be able to tell you guys. So not only that, the battle arts also as well have a proficiency level to them. Everything you do in the game as far as the combat is concerned has a proficiency to it. I think this is masterful. I absolutely love this mechanic, and I love the fact that every single time I go into a skirmish, it just means I'm adding more to the more to something. I'm adding more to something. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be something as my skills, my actual skills that I actually level up off of the character. It could be something as simple as my personal character rank. I love it. Proficiency system in Dynasty Warriors Origin is awesome. Now down to the last two. Gameplay focuses on these maps. Now the skirmishes themselves are going to be your kind of like your bread and butter, because these are where you're gonna basically pop in and pop out, get a little bit, you're gonna get a little bit of story, participate in a skirmish, and then the skirmish adds to something in the overworld where you're adding to the peace of the land. Each and every single province has a certain amount of peace to it. If you neglect it, I think they go down. I think it does seem to go down. If I'm not mistaken, I may be mistaken on that. But the skirmishes are fun, real quick. Oh, complete a camp, kill a enemy officer, something along those lines, right? Then you get into the missions, and these are more thorough, awesome missions where you're actually able to like get different objectives. You got to be certain places at certain times. If you're playing the game, I would advise to play the game on heroic at the start. It's more truer to what Dynasty Warriors is, and then move to Wayfarer, because once you do that, or maybe on a second playthrough, you could do that. Once you do that, then you'll understand the mechanics, understand how everything works, and then it's actually the way that the devs wanted you to play. But at the end of the day, the way that the gameplay is set up, missions are going to be fun, they're going to be awesome. Then there's the main quest line, and those are going to be those are just epic. Like literally the stark difference between Dynasty Warriors 9 and 8 and this, in the way that it handles battles, and the way that it handles the grandiose nature and the spectacle of what war looks like. And on top of that, the fact that there's so many imposing figures around you doing absolutely astonishing abilities. It is fantastic. Just the way that the gameplay works. You have a parry mechanic, you have a dodge mechanic, you have different weapons that you can swap on the fly. By the way, you're not stuck to any of the weapons because there's such a low amount of weapons. You can literally just pause the game, swap it, and then you're good to go. You'll continue wrecking havoc. If you get bored of one, you just swap them out. And the more you progress through the game, the more weapons you unlock. The gameplay loop is fantastic. It's as addictive as ever. And again, nothing beats the amount of chemical-induced dopamine effect when I see the 1,000 people destroyed in a battle pop up on the screen. It is something fantastic. And again, I call it, with all the love and support in the world, the best palate cleanser ever, because you don't have to do too much. Granted, this is the most story-based one, but you just focus, you just literally just, oh, I'm just here to destroy. I'm literally just here to destroy, and it is fantastic for it. And now, the very last point. Fact number 10, or number 1, depending on how you want to count them. The replayability of it. This game is worth the price of admission, and I'll tell you why. The replayability aspect of it, you will have 5 fairly long chapters If you decide to just do story mode, you'll probably be done around 30 hours, but that's not all, because there's 6 endings, 3 true endings, and you have 3 different franchises, all with different characters for you to engage with, for you to have conversations with. It is content filled. So replayability, if you want to do everything that the game has to offer, then you're looking at probably around 100 hours. If you're looking at it, like if you break it down to a certain degree, yeah, you're looking at around, let's say you do the bare minimum and do 25 each. 25, 25, then 25, 25, and then 25, 25. That's 150 hours. It's 150 hours. That is absolutely insane. If you do 3 of the regular endings and then 3 of the true endings, or however they want to break it down, yeah, that's absolutely insane. So as far as replayability is concerned, the cost, the actual cost, the $70 asking price, is it worth it? For me, it is. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comment section below. Are you picking up Dynasty Warriors Origin? As far as the people who have already picked it up, me including, it's at overwhelmingly positive on Steam. It is one of the betters, and I'm seeing 9s and 8s, and it is one of the highest rated Dynasty Warriors game. I love this approach. More to talk about in the actual review, but I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you. Again, thank you. But anyways, you guys, links are down in the description below. I'm your host, Mike Fury. It's been a complete pleasure. Until next time, Mike, off.